Hello everyone, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to get this picture down. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. I swear last time it was easy to get the picture down. How do I do it? Okay, woo, okay, sorry about that. All right, hello everyone, thanks for joining me. We are gonna create a really fun Valentine's Day with the January kit. I'm gonna grab it here and show you. This is the card we're creating today, the card I had stuck on the screen for a while. This card has a lot of different techniques. Hello, Gail. We do some masking in different ways. Masking to kind of protect a stamped image, masking to create some depth in this back or the base or the box. I guess I call that the box. This is the cover. This is the box, the Matchbox box. Yeah, I know, Frida. I feel like every time there's a new problem that I think I figured it out, and then there's something else that comes along. Hello. And then we are even going to create this mirrored die cut, which is very simple, but there's some little tricks that you can do to make sure it's as smooth and as clean looking as possible. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the camera away from my face and down to my work surface so we can get started on today's card, because there is a lot of steps and we should probably get going, because I know everybody has a game probably to watch today. Let me add this to the stream. Oops. All right. There we go. Sorry. I fixed the echo at least before it got real bad. Okay, so let's get started. The very first thing we're going to do is die cut out the Matchbox, the cover. And we're just going to die cut this out of some white cardstock. I'm going to be using the Deluxe Smooth cardstock from Hero Arts. I believe you guys can hear me, so I'm going to proceed forward. Usually somebody lets me know by now if they can't hear me. It seems a little glitchy. Okay, hopefully. I'm going to grab my cutter here and the dies. Hello everyone. So this is the cover. Now we're actually going to cut off. I don't know why it's being so glitchy. Thank you. Please don't be glitchy the whole time. We're actually going to cut off the tabs of this. So this little scrap is a little bit small, but that's okay because we're not going to die cut the entire cover out. I'm going to just cut off the tabs. You can see it's a little short, but not bad. Grab my plates. And I think I'm going to use a piece of tape to kind of hold it in place. I hope it sorts itself out. I don't understand why it's being a little slow. Oh, I hate when it does this. I never understand why. I always do the same thing. Okay, grab another piece of tape. There we go. So I got it taped in place. Don't be glitchy. Don't be glitchy. Don't even know who's playing. I don't know who's playing either. I just know that the teams are red and I know the colors are red and blue. That's all I know. But I do look forward to the commercials, and I look forward to well, I don't even know who's at the halftime show. Usually I pay attention. Is it Rihanna? Which that'd be a great show. And what else? Oh, the food, of course, the food. I'm on, I don't know what I'm on. Oh yeah, I can't connect to the Ethernet because I don't have the setup. We can't just have it over here. I'm in the dining room. But usually, I mean, most of the time it's okay. And we've increased our we increased our internet and everything to be better. But I still sometimes it's a little glitchy. I don't know why. Eagles and Chiefs. Thank you. And Rihanna. Yay! Rihanna's gonna be great. Yeah, I'm excited to see that. All right, so I just die cut this out. Real simple. Nothing complicated here. And because I'm going to cut the tabs off, I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now. But look at how great that cut. So I'm going to cut right along the score lines. Grab my long bladed scissors for that because it just is a lot easier. You could use a paper trimmer too if you want to. I'm just going to cut it with my scissors. Now you could fold these over, but since we're not actually making this like functional, I'm not making this to be an interactive card. So the inside box doesn't need to actually slide up and down. So I'm just going to take those tabs off. All right. Okay, now we're going to stamp our birds. Oh, well, I don't think it's started yet, unless I'm wrong. I think it starts like here in Arizona. I think it starts at 4:30. So I think we're. If you still wanted to watch it, you're all right. I have it like this, where as this is the bottom, but I've seen people kind of do it either way. Make sure this is nice and tucked into the corner. I might stamp this again. I might want to stamp it again later, just to make it nice and bold and crisp. Hello! A lot of people from Florida today. That's awesome. Thanks for joining. All right, so here's the really awesome stamp set that came with the January kit. I loved all the images in this set. I thought they were so cute. They remind me a lot of like a vintage style, and I love that. I'm going to use these really pretty birds. Yes, it's being played in Arizona. Yes, it's being played here. We're all busy here and here, all excited. I'm not, of course, going to the Super Bowl. I cannot afford tickets to the Super Bowl, but it's always a big deal, you know, if you're where the Super Bowl is being played, because it's such a good boost for the area. All right, I think I got that centered. Listening from Michigan, awesome. Just gonna pick that up, and I'm gonna stamp this in Hero Arts Intensified Black ink, which is a Copic friendly ink, because we're gonna color this. But it does take some time to dry, so we're gonna stamp this and then set this aside. And I'm going to grab my scrubby block. It's great for kind of using it as a Chucky. I think I'm going to stamp it out one more time. But again, I might pop this back into my MISTI and stamp it later. It's always a little bit of a risk to do that, but I think if you do a good job, like getting it in the corner when you originally stamp it, and then do a good job of getting it back into that corner to lighten up again in your MISTI when you stamp it again later, you're pretty good. But I won't lie, it's always a risk, and I've messed it up before. All right, there we go. And since I have everything like all on my MISTI all ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my masks. I'm just give this a minute here to not be all laggy. All right, and I'm using this full adhesive Post-it note. So it's pretty much sticky all the way through. I think I'm just going to pop it in here. I'm not going to actually remove it yet. Make sure. And there's some residual ink left on this stamp, so I'm just going to stamp it. Oh my gosh, Bonnie. I hope you're feeling okay. I hope everything went well. And that is a little faint, so I might even hit this up. Ink this one more time. Well, thank you for joining us, Bonnie. Wow, we wish you all, I'm sure, a very speedy recovery. All right, there we go. So there's our mask for later. I'm just going to set this aside. I'm not going to remove my image from my MISTI. I'm not going to remove the stamp because just in case I want to stamp this again after I do my ink blending and my Copic coloring to the Matchbox cover. All right, let's get this out of here. All right, and we'll put this aside. The next thing we're going to do is work on the box. So I'm going to die cut this out of some colored cardstock. I'm going to use this beautiful mist cardstock. It's a kind of a blue, a light blue, but not the lightest blue, but a light blue. Grab my compact cutter again. And let's grab the base or the box. Do you guys do you look forward to, do you have like some food you're excited to eat for the Super Bowl? My dad always makes hot wings. I'm very excited to eat those. Okay, I'll run this through. And the die creates these score lines in that pizza. Oh, in the cardstock. And I'm going to use this as a guide to how I ink blend this. I kind of look at this. There's a perspective here that you kind of have to get right. So this is actually the bottom. So when I turn it this way, now we'll be holding it upright, and you can see the edge here goes all the way, this wall goes all the way up, and this is the inside. Gosh, this is the inside here that we're looking in right here. All right, let's ink blend this to kind of really bring out those walls. I have some tape. I'm going to use my micropore tape just because that's what I have, but any low tack tape or what's the word? Painter's tape would work too. Something that's low tack. I'm going to use this to mask off. I think Sika uses, I'm masking off the walls. I'm not going to worry about this bottom one here at the very bottom. I'm not going to worry about that, but I'm going to mask off all the other walls with my tape. We're going to make the inside dark to kind of really encourage that perspective and really help. I'm glad you have beautiful weather. Stuck in the hospital is not so fun though. I'm glad the staff is treating. They're amazing. The staff's always so amazing. All right. And now I'm going to grab Pool Party Reactive Ink. And I'm going to ink blend. I want to keep this dark, but I do want to have a little gradation where it's darker at the base down here. Now this edge, I'm not worried. This wall, I'm not worried about covering because it's going to be covered by the Matchbox cover. So I'm not really worried too much about this. But I want to ink blend the whole thing because I want the whole inside to be darker. And then I'm going to focus being more heavy-handed at the halfway point, kind of create that gradation. Okay, and that's it. That's the inside. And we're done with that. So I'm going to remove my tape. And already you can start to see how that really helps to make those add that, I guess, really encourage that look, that illusion of depth. And we're not quite done, but that already helped a lot. I'll hold it up to the camera here so you can see a little bit better. And pause a moment while I look at that. Amazing. So now we're going to start to mask off on the corners because I want to add a little, like to this corner right here, I want to add a little bit of color, shade that a little bit to make this wall here pop. And then we're also going to mask off over here and shade that a little bit too. And when I was writing the instructions for this, I was like, this is really tricky to try to explain. Unless I labeled maybe every line that I'm talking about. So I'm glad I did this. That's why I kind of chose this project for live. So to mask that off, I don't need to worry about masking this off. And I am going to mask this corner off too. Just in case, actually, I probably don't even need to bother. I'm not even going to bother because I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to ink blend here and out and create a little gradation. Just a little. That's it, done. And hold up, you can see it kind of makes that wall pop. I might need to even go a little darker with this. Go Chiefs, we got a Chiefs fan. I don't have any clue who I'm rooting for. I usually root for the underdog, so I don't know who's the underdog this time. I'm gonna ink a little bit right here on this corner. Perfect. And now I think I'm going to ink blend the whole inside again, just because I feel like I didn't go dark enough with the pool party. So I'm going to mask those walls again. And once we're done with that inside, that second kind of going over the inside, we'll be completely done with this box. I know, I'm sorry. I don't, once it's like this, there's nothing I can do except for hope that it will fix itself. So I'm just making this darker. That's all I'm doing here. More than one Chiefs fan. Okay, Mary's a Chiefs fan too. Whoops. All right, let's move that. And this is done. Perfect. I'll hold it up so you can see. So we just have those little great, we have the inside of our box darker, and then a little gradation in the upper left corner up here, just a little to make this left wall pop. And then we have a little gradation in the upper right corner here. Again, just to kind of make that, define that corner a little bit more so you can see it. And that's it. That's our box. So just a little bit of ink blending on that. Honestly, you don't even have to do this, but I think it adds to the look of that perspective. It just encourages that. The lines do it, but when you ink blend, it takes it for one notch more. All right, let's put that aside. And let's move on to our little birdies. Let's start die cutting this out because I want to only give this plenty of time. I want to give our stamped Matchbox plenty of time to dry before we start to ink blend and Copic color, because that could make the ink move around on us and get muddy. All right, let me grab my compact cutter again. Some white cardstock. I'm going to use some of my scraps. And let's grab the bird. Now the first bird we're just going to die cut like normal. Let's find the bird. There it is. Grab my plates. And let's run that through. And now we'll create that mirrored bird. Hi, Maria. So there's our regular die cut bird. Now we're going to create the mirrored one. So the mirrored one is not anything special. It's just going to be the back side. But when you use the back side of your die cuts, you can kind of run into some texture problems because we're actually going to Copic color this too. And so, and the texture comes from your cutting plate. It's just all the use, and it has these lines. You can get a little bit of texture. Mine actually looks pretty good, but I'm going to show you what to do to kind of avoid some of that texture. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. This is not going to look perfectly like exactly like if we were to have die cut this with a mirrored die, but it'll be close enough. I mean, I don't think you can really tell. I'll hold the car up again. You can really tell that much that this is just the back side of this bird. All right, now to kind of prevent that texture getting on the back of the die cut, the texture being from your cutting plate, I'm going to use a little piece of copy paper. Just use a scrap. Uninked box panel would look like an unnecessary component. Inking makes it stand out and connects it to the full design. Thank you. Yeah, I think it helps a little bit. And plus, I just wanted to show you, I did it a lot on all my samples for the release, and I don't think I ever could really explain it very well. So I'm really glad to do it live. All right, so I've got my, this lagging. I've got my scrap copy paper. Now copy paper is just, printer paper. And this is like a literal scrap. Then my cardstock, and then my die. Put it on my cutting plate, then my top plate. There we go. And now I'll run this through. And that copy paper is going to protect that back side of the die cut so it doesn't get any impressions from your cutting plate. I don't know. It's being glitchy today, Pamela. I'm sorry. I don't know why. When everything's the same as it normally is. And it cut all the way through. It cut the copy paper too, so I'm just pop that off. And there we have this. This is the front. And this is the back, and it's nice and smooth, no lines. We do have a little bit of like a border because of the pressure of the die, and we can smooth that out with a, what do you call these things? A bone folder. Just kind of take your bone folder and go along that edge, and that will flatten out that kind of beveled edge that the die creates. And now it's nice and flat. Hold it up. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see, but it's totally flat now. No beveled edge at all. All right. I'm like trying to think what I could do. We'll see. No problem. Yeah, because it's like laggy. I apologize. I'm just trying to think of what I could do to maybe fix it real quick. Because I feel like it's not laggy on my computer, it's laggy on my camera. Yeah, it's a little out of sync. It definitely is. You guys are not misinterpreting or anything. It's just, it's lagging and I'm not sure why. But I can't move I don't think I can move my computer in a way that you could see what I'm doing. That's the only problem. Just see real quick. I think it would be impossible to do that. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out something, but it won't work. You flatten both doves? That's fine, Linda. You can flatten both. All right, now we're going to move on to coloring. Facebook is better than YouTube, at least for me. Oh, okay. I mean, it's even lagging here in StreamYard. So, all right, so I'm going to grab my Copic markers. We're going to color this really simply. Let's start with the wings. I'm going to use one color for the wings, and it is BG10. And I'm going to color along. Let's grab something I can point with better than my finger. I'm going to color along these like curves in the wings. Just that's where I'm going to color and do like a little gradation with or feathered stroke with my marker. Just add a little bit of color there, a little definition. And it's very light, so it's being difficult to see. See if I can hold it up and do it in air. That wasn't the neatest, but it got done. And I'm going to do the belly. So that's a little definition. You can kind of smooth it out a little bit with the colorless blender if you want to soften the edges a little bit. Now I'm going to do the belly. Let's do a little bit of the blue along the belly. And I think I am going to grab my colors blender. Oh, thank you, Mary. Maybe. I have no idea. Like I said before, it's what I always do, and sometimes it works great. I think we had this problem before, and then we upgraded like all our internet and everything, and it was fixed. And then today's like a surprise. All of a sudden, it's not working. And I feel bad because I know it's a bump. It's not fun to watch. I understand. It's really annoying. I get it. So I apologize. That one was kind of out of ink. So I grabbed my other colors blender here. Just soften the edges a little bit just because I was a little sloppy with me doing it in the air. Hello, Sharon. Okay, that one's done. And I'm actually coloring the mirrored one, but it's no different. We're not going to color it any different. Now onto the beak. For the beak, I just have 2 yellows picked out. Y15 is my light. YR23 is my dark. Come on. There we go. Color the whole beak with the light. And there's no lines, obviously, because this is just a die cut, so you're going to have to kind of make it up. There we go. And then I'm going to grab YR23, which is my dark, and just add a little bit of the darker color right to the, like, where the beak meets the face. Just a little. And that's it. You could blend it out, but it's pretty good as is. Now for the heart, I have 2 reds picked out. We're going to create a little gradation on the heart. The reds are R27 and R59. I'm going to color the whole heart first with R27. Perfect. Already looks so good. And then I'm going to grab R59. Maybe it's Arizona. Maybe Penny, it's all the people here in Arizona. The Super Bowl messed up my internet. And so I just colored along the edge of that R59. Now I'm going to blend it out with my R27, my lighter color. How rude. How rude. And that's it. Yeah, blue. I like the blue too, Frida. I use it a lot because I like that. And it brings in the blue from our box. It just kind of makes everything more cohesive. Gray is nice too, but sometimes it's nice to do the blue. Blue has like a softer touch. Oh, and then the eye. The eye, I'm just going to use a black Copic marker and dot that. And then I'll repeat this process for the other bird real quick. There we go. And that's it. That's our little birdie. So sweet. Okay, I'm going to really quickly color this other bird the exact same way. Start with the wings. Much better when I'm not holding it up in the air. I don't even think I need to take a colors blender and blend it out. Oops. And then I'll move on to the beak with my 2 yellows. Yep, no feet. There's no feet on the birdie. I guess they're tucked in. It would be very difficult to land. Well, it would be not. They would not land eloquently or elegantly. There you go. It would be a bit of a fall, a crash. And I do have to hold this up just to kind of get the edges of the heart. I'm having a hard time coloring it all the way up to the edge. And then we'll grab our dark, which is R59. Blend it out. And then a black for the eye. And we're done. We've got our 2 little birdies. I just think this could have been done with one, this design, this card. 1 bird could be gone. You don't have to have 2 birds. There's no reason to have 2. But I think it communicates kind of the story better, you know, that this is like a Valentine with 2 birds. And it's pretty easy to create that mirrored bird just by flipping the die cut over. Okay, so we have our 2 birds done. I'm going to put them aside. And let's just to be extra safe, we're going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment. I'm really putting off doing this because I really want to make sure that ink has had plenty of time to dry, because I don't like it when the ink gets kind of moving around. And I could probably take my heat tool to it too. That would help. All right, but we have still something to do, so let's do that. Let's do our sentiment real quick. Again, I'm going to use my MISTI, but leave that image leave that stamped image in there because I'm going to maybe re-stamp it later. So I'll just use the upper corner here for my sentiment. And I did Sending Love, which I created. I grabbed the sending and grabbed the love. And you might have to. I'll hold it up to the camera. I cut this stamp. I don't know if you can see. It's a little bit of a raw edge. I cut the stamp, that excess photopolymer, you know, stuff on the side. I cut that off just so I could get the sending and the love closer together in my MISTI. So don't be afraid to kind of do that sometimes to your stamps, especially if you're kind of putting words together to create your own sentiment. You might find you have to kind of trim off a little bit of that extra photopolymer stuff off so you can get them closer together. Or you can stamp them, you know, one at a time, but I like to do it all at once. I'm going to grab some pitch black cardstock. Put them together here. Make sure sending is actually going the right way. What I love about this is that that love is kind of scripty, so you don't have to worry about getting it perfectly straight with the bottom of sending. It's a little, they're a little different, and that works, makes it easier to kind of line them up together. I'm going to grab my anti-static powder bag, put that down because we're going to do some heat embossing. Ink this up in embossing watermark ink. One, stamp it again. That's 2 times. Now we'll just dip this into our white embossing powder. I'll do a little cleanup with my brush. There's a little bit of static cling. A little tiny bit. But it's not coming off. It really wants to stay on there. I think that's good enough. But it turned out so good. Now I'm going to say heat set with my heat tool, so it's going to be a little noisy. There it is. Now I'm going to fussy cut this out, but there is no reason why this could not just be a sentiment strip. I just prefer the look of it being fussy cut out, so I'm going to go through that extra trouble. This is actually a pretty easy one to fussy cut out because the sending is pretty linear. So you really only have to cut around the love. I'm going to cut off all this excess because it's just a little too difficult to get in there. There we go. All right, we're almost done with the sending, and we just have the love. I'm going to go around the S. Kind of follow along the curves of that letter. Now onto the love. I'm going to follow along this one just because it's so scripty. It'd be much more noticeable if I didn't really follow along. And it's big. It's big and scripty. So it would be noticeable if I didn't quite follow along. So the bottom and tops of the letters. Sometimes, I don't know if you've seen me cut fussy, cut
sentiments before. Sometimes I don't like really follow along. I just make little, I just kind of do a bumpy cutting motion with my scissors. Kind of like what I did over the sending. But this love needs a little bit more time and care to get around it and have it be kind of clean and look professional. All right, there it is, all done. Our sending love. Now let's move on to dun dun dun, our Matchbox cover. So we have our birds, our box, our sentiment all done. But now it's time for this. So let's talk about this real quick. As you notice that the birds are white, but the rest of the cover is pink. That's because we're going to ink blend this cover with peony ink. And the way we keep the birds white is with that mask that we created earlier. But we do have to cut it out. So here's the mask that we created earlier on a full adhesive Post-it note. I'm just going to take it off. I'm going to cut these birds out. Now this, I won't lie, this is not the easiest of tasks. It's not the hardest thing I've fussy cut out, but those little bumps in the wings are a little tricky. My tip for when you're cutting out a mask for a stamped image is to cut actually into the black stamped outline, kind of cut into that a little bit. Don't try to cut right along the edge. Go ahead and cut right into that black outline a little bit. So I'm going to take my time here. But I promise once you're done with these two birds, it's a lot easier. This is genuinely the hardest part of this card, is cutting out this bird mask. But I think it's so worth it. If you really don't want to do this, then you just color the bird. You don't worry about having a pink Matchbox cover. You don't worry about that. Just have it be white. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I need to cut this off. You could use the die. Yeah, the die will leave a border though. That's the only, well, actually, no, there's no dies for this bird. No, there's no dies for this. I take that back. I'm sorry. There is no die. Not for this. But we're almost done with one. I finished the hard part on this bird. So now we're really in home stretch. We just have one more to go. But again, if this is too much trouble, don't make it pink. Don't worry about ink blending it pink. Because I get it. I can understand. It's tiny. All right, there's the first mask cut out. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on our bird. They're identical, so it doesn't matter. Like the bottom one doesn't have to be with the bottom one. Now I'm gonna cut the other one out. I'm gonna just trim it around it here just to get rid of some of that extra Post-it note that's kind of in the way. Cutting right into the black outline. Oh, I hope you do find the right way to do it, Frida. I know I like these smaller scissors, but I bet I would assume you probably tried smaller scissors like these. These are nothing fancy. This is like We Are Memory Keepers scissors that I got with a toolkit, a little toolkit, like a cutting toolkit. So they're nothing fancy. I like narrower. I'll show you what I don't like. I don't like these. for fussy cutting. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. Oh my gosh. I don't like these for fussy cutting because I don't know if you can see how much wider the scissor blades are compared to this little black one. That matters to me. This needs to be narrow so I can see better where I'm cutting. It's a little bit more precise. And then I turn my paper as opposed to turning my scissors. There's a lot of paper turning. And it's not helping that it's sticky. The whole mask is a little sticky. It's making it a little catchy, a little bit more catchy than it normally would be. Now for this tail part, you can cut, you don't have to really follow along so carefully because it's pretty much, the bumps don't, if you were to cut like off the tops of the bumps a little bit, like into the black stamp line, it'd be pretty straight. Like just a gentle curve. So I don't know if you can see. Wait for a minute here. There's a lot that I did cut off. I didn't like follow along all those little bumps there at the tail of the bird. All right, now I'm going to go on to this last part, the trickier part. This one I do kind of have to follow the bumps because they're so pronounced. That's the way that's the right word I'm looking for. The bumps on the tail were not so pronounced, so you could kind of just cut them off. But these are very pronounced, so I do have to kind of go around them. All right. And I'm done. This is it. Second mask done. Oh, Frida, maybe that will help. I bought these online. These are nothing fancy. These are just some Amazon scissors, and I needed some like more scissors because I have two little girls in this house who are always taking my scissors. But I would never, these are just no good for fussy cutting. Now my daughters took these scissors. Oh, they know that's trouble because I need those scissors. All right, so I put the masks on. Now we're ready to ink blend over this. We're gonna grab that Peony core ink, and we're just gonna ink blend over the whole thing. Everything, the banner, the birds, all of it. Oh, good, and it looks like our black ink's had plenty of time to dry. Oops. My mask came off a little bit, just had to pop it back down. And that beak came off a little bit. Okay, that's it. We're done. We now have a pink Matchbox cover. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the masks. And they kept our bird so beautiful and white. Look at that. Nice and clean, no ink in there. Love that. It's always magic, isn't it? Masking is so magic. Oh no. I know it's hard. It's hard. I have that same problem. I have a hard time waiting for things to dry. I'm very impatient. And I want to get going. I want to get to the finished card. I want to get to the next part. I can't wait. And I've definitely done those kind of mistakes. All right, we are ready to Copic color this. So yes, Mary suggests her Tim Holtz. I don't have those Tim Holtz 5 Teflon coated scissors for fussy cutting. And I've heard a lot of people love those. I don't have them. I've never tried them because I'm doing okay with what I got, but maybe I should give them a try. All right, we're gonna grab my Copic markers. We're gonna use a lot of the same colors we used before. But let's start with the banner because it's kind of big. And I used a lot of pinks. I had a lot of pinks for the banner. We're going to start with, I have 4 pinks in total, but we're going to start with RV11, which is my light. And I'm going to completely color everything. And it's totally okay to color the hearts. You can color over everything in this banner. Color over it all with this light, is our lightest pink. We kind of want to make it dark. This first coat or first layer of color will just make it darker a little bit than the background, a little bit. Now we're going to move on to our next shade, which is RV 21. I'm going to give it a minute here to focus and not be so laggy. Now we want to kind of create the illusion of this having some waves, you know, that's moving. I want it to first be darker right here on this fold. So I'm going to start blending out, coloring out, making a little gradation right on that kind of corner of the banner. We're going to do the same thing down here to the other one. And I'm actually going to go back to the top one and carry that color down even past the bird down here, past the bird a little bit. All right, now that we've done the 2 kind of corners, we're going to color in the center and create it, make it darker there. And it's okay to carry this one. This is our first medium, so it's okay to take this one pretty far. We'll make it shorter and shorter, the area we color, as we move to darker markers. All right, I'm going to hold this up so you can kind of see what we have so far. Now we're moving on to RV23. There we go. And again, we're going to start at the corners and work out, but we're not going to go as far as we did with the RV21. So for the top, I'm going to go just to the bird, just to the bird. Color a little bit at the bottom. And now we're going to go over the center. All right, and then we'll finish up with our darkest color, which is RV04. And because this is our darkest, we're not going to color very far down with this dark shade. So a little bit there at the fold. Pause for a minute. Just a little. A little at our bottom one. And then a little in the center. And now we've got to blend everything out. So I'm going to go back to our darker medium, which was RV23. And start to blend it out. Blend out that transition between the darkest shade and that RV23. Kind of blend it out. Then I'll move on to our light medium, which was RV21. And then I'll finish with a tiny bit more of the light RV11. And that's it. That finishes our banner. It really pops now from the background. And you almost wouldn't have known that we completely ink blended over it with the peony. Now let's move on to the birds. Let's do those because they're like the next biggest thing. And then we're going to do these the same way we did the die cuts, starting with that BG10. Going to color at the, like, they're not folds. I guess the definition or the bumps on the wings. Kind of color in, follow along those. And then color at the tail a little bit. And then I like to add a little on the neck, just a little shadow there on the neck. Now I'm going to repeat that. I'll hold it up real quick. It's very light. It's because that blue is so light. Now I'm going to repeat that for the other bird. It's the same areas. All right, now the hearts, they're super easy. Grab that light red, that RV20, or not RV, just R27. And, oh, I did forget the beaks. Let's do the beaks real quick. Our two yellows, the same yellows we used before, Y15 and YR23. Even though this is very tiny, you might not even bother with the darker yellow. They are, gosh, I'm saying all the wrong things. YR23. I'm stuck on the RVs. And then we'll move back to that red, R27, just color the hearts. This is the best part. I think once you start coloring the hearts, it like really completes it. It's like, oh, looks like a real printed like image on a box. Hold up so you can see. Wait a minute for it to not be so laggy. And you can grab if you want to, I don't think I even did it. You could add a little bit of maybe even just to the biggest heart. You could grab the darker red, the R59, and do a little gradation if you want. I don't think I did it on my original, but let's add it here in case you want to. I'm not going to bother with those tiny hearts. They're too small. Those tiny hearts in the banner, they don't need a gradation. Blend out that dark red with a little bit of my R27. It's very subtle, so totally not necessary if you don't want to do that little bit of extra red. All right, and that's the cover. Now we have like everything ready to bring this together. So I'm going to grab my card base and I'm going to tape it down just so it doesn't keep opening up on me while we construct this. Let's put together, tape that corner too. Oh, it's still popping. There we go. That tape's just not sticky enough. All right, let's arrange this. Turn our box the right way, tuck it inside. I like it at an angle. And we could actually just stop there. That's about right. Just push that a little more centered. That looks about right. I'm gonna grab a piece of tape and just kind of hold them. Maybe I'll open it up a tiny bit more. There. There we go. Now grab a piece of tape and kind of hold. Oh, restamping. Oh my gosh, Sandy. Yes, let's do that. I forgot all about that. Let's restamp it. It does look pretty good though. But okay, so if you like the way it is right now, you don't have to restamp. Oh no. Oh, I know those masks are hard. But I'll restamp. But if you don't like it and you don't want to take that risk, which I totally understand, because sometimes when you try to restamp it, it doesn't Didn't quite get in the right spot. It gets a little off, but I'm going to try it. I have faith I can do it. But you don't have to. But by restamping, it does really sharpen everything and just makes it look so good. But it is a risk. It is a risk. So I popped it back into my MISTI. I made sure it was really nestled in that corner. Use my magnet to hold it in there. Now I'm going to ink up with the intensified black. And just stamp this over. Fingers crossed. Looks good. Oh, it looks amazing. It looks good. Thank you, Sandy. I totally forgot about that. That really helps, that little extra stamping over. But always, again, I always warn, it's a bit of a risk. Thank you, Frida. It turned out good. Because if it didn't turn out good, I'd have to do it all over again. Ah, that'd be bad. All right, back to this. Now back to this. Reconstruct my matchbox real quick. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, grab my tape, and all I have is, I don't want it to be so big. That ink is a little wet, so I'm trying not to touch it or tape over it. But I'm using a little piece of tape to hold the two pieces in place, hold them together. You could use press and seal. I'm trying to show sometimes not press and seal just because I know some people can't get it. So I feel bad. Ooh, my stomach growled hardcore. Like so loud. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys heard it. And I've just got some foam adhesive. I'm going to add this to the back side. Hello. Thanks for joining us. We're a bit laggy, so I apologize. We're on home stretch. All right. I'm going to remove the backing. Does it make things worse? Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't work as good as I'd like it to. But I will say, for me, it is still an essential thing in my craft room. I still use it a lot. When it doesn't quite work out, you're like, it can be a big bummer. Okay, tape that down. Remove that tape, holding it in place. I'm just making a card, a Valentine with the January kit. This one right here, we're just finishing it up. It's supposed to look like a little matchbox. Well, this one is probably more like a little box because I didn't make any matches for the inside. But the matches in the kit were so cute. Where's my sentiment? Here it is. All right, now we're ready for the birds and the sentiment. So get those in place. Something like that. I'm going to use my little tape again. Again, this could be where you use the press and seal. Kind of get that where I want it to go. Need my tweezers. Actually, I kind of like it not. There we go. Grab my tape again. Oh, my crock pot's done too. Everything's being noisy today. Put it over all three of them. Thank you, Linda. This is a fun one. A bit complicated, I'm not gonna lie, but I think those are the best cards to kind of do sometimes in a live to show you really show you how it's all put together. This one, I don't think I would have known how it was made unless I like really read. It's a bit confusing with the masking here and that fact that that cover is pink, and adding foam adhesive and to the back side real quick. And I know I'm going to have to double up this sentiment here, and I'll show you why. Because it hangs off. I'm going to put it back over on the card. I'll wait a minute here for it not to be so laggy. Okay, you can see where the sending is. It's hanging off. So I'm going to have to double that up. I'm going to have to double up the foam adhesive behind that word. So I'm going to remove the backing on that one layer. Just put another one on top. And I think I need just another bit of foam adhesive for the rest of the sentiment. The rest of the sentiment cover goes on the Matchbox, so that just needs one layer. It doesn't need double. All right, now now this is all got the foam adhesive on it. I'm ready to remove the backing. This is another reason why this micro pour tape is kind of nice, because it's a little bit transparent. You can kind of see through it a little bit, which is going to make placing this easier. Now remove the tape, and there's our finished card. So fun. I love how it has a kind of clean and simple look, I think, even though there's lots of steps, but nice and fun to kind of put it all together. You know, when you have a vision and kind of be able to put it all together with all those different techniques, it's always really rewarding. All right, I'm going to switch back to my other camera and sign out for today. Let me switch over.
Let me unmute myself. All right. Thank you guys so much for spending your Sunday with me creating this Valentine with the January kit. I really love how this one turned out, and I hope you guys found that kind of going through the process helpful and inspiring. And I will see you guys in the next live we do. Bye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the game if you watch it, and have fun. Bye.